We want to make sure that Colorado is ready.
Colorado is preparing for a year-round wildfire season.
We know that this issue is about more than just one fire. It's really about tackling the increased fire threat.
The warm, dry, and windy weather is creating dangerous fire conditions across the state.
We have seen dozens of wildfires just this year already, and it's April.
Red flag and high wind warnings are now in effect for eastern Colorado. I'm tracking the conditions before colder weather moves in tonight.
Wildfires can spark at any moment, and officials want you and your home to be ready.
We don't want people to be fearful of living here. We just have to know that we're living with fire in our environment.
Plus, Colorado lawmakers are taking action, making sure our firefighters have the tools they need to respond when a wildfire sparks.
We need to prepare for the worst case scenario.
Right now, we're waiting to hear from the governor and other state officials about Colorado's fire outlook. It's happening on a day where the fire risk is extremely critical. Those are the areas shaded in bright pink you see there on the map. This is from the National Weather Service, and it includes Denver and Castle Rock, east to Akron and Lyman. The National Weather Service says this is only the second time since 2010 that the Denver Metro has had such extreme critical risk. The fire risk is why the Front Range and Plains are under red flag and high wind warnings. Many of them just went into effect. You're looking live right now from I-70 near the Kansas border, and you can see it is a dry and very windy day because of the high fire danger. Several counties, like I said, do have fire restrictions put in place. We do have team coverage to prepare you for today's conditions. Here's meteorologist Stacey Donaldson with a look at the areas that could see the most fire danger. Stacey?
It looks intense for later today. Those winds will be picking up to around 65 miles an hour. And from the Front Range all the way across the eastern plains, we have critical and extreme fire danger expected, and you can see from this map that it covers the entire eastern half of our state. So as we go through the rest of the day, we will have low humidity levels, high temperatures in the 80s, and very gusty winds. So from Denver down toward Colorado Springs, we have that critical fire danger, and then it's extreme off across the eastern plains. Red flag warnings in effect starting right now all the way into this evening, along with a high wind warning, and those both are included in Metro Denver all the way down into southeastern Colorado. And we'll see those wind gusts up around 65 miles an hour today. We're already starting to see those winds kick up from the south. As we go into the rest of the day, they will become more intense. So our hourly planner keeping us in the upper 70s, low 80s for the afternoon. Very windy conditions for the day with those afternoon highs in the 80s here. From the Front Range up into northeastern Colorado, we'll even have 80s and 90s out across the eastern half of our state. So we'll be talking more about this before that next cold front comes in. We already have some advisories in effect for snow in the high country as this next cold front approaches.
Stacey, thank you. For the month of April, Colorado has seen either high fire danger or a wildfire every day except for two. The National Weather Service has issued at least 12 red flag events this month. And if that seems like a lot to you, you're not alone. It's actually a record for the month of April. Red flag warnings are issued when there's high fire concern. That means humidity is expected to be at 15% or less, and wind gusts are expected to be at least 25 miles an hour for 3 hours or longer. The National Weather Service says it's aware of what's called warning fatigue, but they think that the intense conditions today will be enough for people to take fire danger seriously.
We don't necessarily need you to take specific actions with every warning. A lot of things are just kind of a one-time or maybe twice per season kind of thing. Make sure that you have a go bag packed with essential supplies for a few days. Make sure that your property is clear, has decent defensible space, gutters are clear of leaves, and also make sure that you're signed up for emergency alerts.
Experts say fire season now lasts year-round. We've seen 3 of the largest wildfires in Colorado history and the most devastating urban fire in the metro just in the last 2 years. All 3 of them started outside the typical wildfire season. Climatologists say massive and destructive fires are part of a bigger issue. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joining us live now. And Veronica, our changing climate is playing a role here.
That's exactly it. A lot warmer and a lot windier than it was very early this morning. And climatologists say part of that reasoning is because there's not a lot of moisture in our air. That, though, just part of the reason why we're seeing so many fires spark up and spread so much quicker than before.
Warmer, the air is thirstier for water. This is something that I think we're going to have to continue to be aware of, be prepared for.
Russ Shoemaker said there's been a greatly increased frequency of drought in the past 20 years or so across our state. Here's why he says droughts make it easier for some of these fires to happen. They actually increase the amount of moisture that the atmosphere wants to take out of the ground. As we all know, a drier ground then in turn means fuel for some of these fires to burn. Of course, as you can imagine, drought not the only problem here. There's a different climatologist who told us the health of the forest, the weather, climate, and where people live with respect to vulnerable areas. They all play a role in not only how fast those fires spread, but how they start as well. We're live in Boulder County this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. Emergency responders and firefighters adjust their tactics for red flag days like today. In Boulder County, they have more firefighters on standby in case a wildfire breaks out. You also might see them patrolling neighborhoods or moving fire engines to different locations. They're also reminding people to avoid mowing the lawn, parking on dry grass, or using power tools that could create a spark. More than half of Colorado fire departments rely on volunteers to fill their ranks, and some of them don't have the ability to bring in more staff. Firefighters in the Sugarloaf Fire Protection District in Boulder County say they train all year. They say they try to be prepared for anything since there are no county or city services in the area.
If there's a fire in our district, we also help neighboring districts. We've had several big fires in our district that have burned homes, so we hope that will never happen again.
Firefighters in the Sugarloaf Fire Protection District say it is critical for everyone to help prevent fires. That means no illegal campfires, and that's the biggest problem they've been seeing lately. Colorado lawmakers are trying to help volunteer fire departments with two bills. One provides $5 million for better equipment and more training. The second would provide money for mental health resources.
This is a great bill for volunteer firefighters as well as permanent firefighters, but we're trying to get them the equipment, the training.
Gear costs about $4,000 per firefighter. A lot of volunteer departments rely on hand-me-downs from other agencies. These bills would ease that burden. Colorado's also investing $20 million to fight wildfires this season. Governor Jared Polis and lawmakers made the announcement this morning. The money will be used for a larger aerial response, including adding another air tanker and helicopters. The state plans to invest in a new dispatch system to speed up response times and new technology to contain wildfires to remote areas.
This package means that Colorado will be heading into the summer months with the most aggressive, most resourced fire response team we have ever had by far.
These initiatives will be paid for by FEMA reimbursement funds from the 2020 wildfire season. The state's also thinking long-term here with mitigation efforts and year-round forest management plans. More than 24 counties in Colorado have issued fire restrictions today. They're the counties shaded in blue here on this map. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is in Boulder County with more context on what the restrictions mean for what you can and can't do.
Yeah, firefighters are asking everyone to do their part to prevent any fire from sparking, especially during these dangerous conditions that we're seeing today. So right now there are stage 1 fire restrictions in place for several counties, including Boulder, Arapahoe, and Douglas County. And this means no open burning of any kind. Firework restrictions are also in place, and those who don't comply could face a fine of up to $1,000. 23 other counties across the state have implemented fire restrictions as well. And if you're planning to be in any fire-prone areas today, make sure that you keep a map handy, you stay alert, your phone is charged and it has signal, and if you see any smoke, call 911. So it is very important to stay prepared and also sign up for those emergency alerts. You can sign up for the Code Red emergency alert system through our website. Just go to thedenverchannel.com. Live in Boulder, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
All good tips, Christian, and you might be wondering about ways to protect your home from wildfires. You've likely heard the term mitigation. Well, that means cutting back trees that overhang your roof. Consider removing shrubs, plus consider removing flammable things within 5 feet of your home.
Within 5 feet of our property line, what's there? So is it rock that's against your siding, or is it mulch? Because if sparks land in mulch, that could create a fire right next to the house. Do you have patio furniture that's up against the house? So just being aware of the things that could easily catch fire on the exterior and maybe do your best to mitigate those things.
And the goal in doing all of those things is to protect your home if sparks are flying in the wind. We'll be monitoring conditions all day, and you can stay up to date on any fires and evacuations in our area with the Denver 7 Plus app. You can download it for free right now. People living in a Denver food desert have a place to get groceries now, and is offering the community more than just fresh food. Plus, buy your ticket, yoga returns to Red Rocks.